Good morning and welcome back to White Mountains Today here on White Mountain TV 16. Joining us this morning is Beth Dyson. Beth, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great.
Day today. It's beautiful.
It is.
Out there.
Beautiful
Finally got
day.
rid of the rain.
I know. A lot of rain. But you are here today to talk about your new role. You kind of have a new role in a familiar role. And I'm going to let you explain and an important role, a vital role. And I'm so glad that you could join us today. So kind of explain what your position is now.
So last year I was the navigator, and you all probably will continue to know me as the navigator. That's just an easy term. But the government cut down the funding for that this past year. And so our grant wasn't renewed. And there are no navigators in New Hampshire. And what we did was, in addition to helping people get affordable health care, we would go out and educate folks like on this great program or out into the community. So our program went on hiatus for about a month and a half. And thankfully, because of a grant given to us by the New Hampshire Electric Co-op Foundation, they actually, those people who get New Hampshire Electric Co-op are members. If you round up your bill every month, those few pennies every month get collected and get put into a foundation, and they give grants to the communities.
So awesome.
We applied, yes, and they gave us a grant to keep us running till April.
That is great.
It's awesome. It's so thankful.
And you've been on the show before, and so over the years we've talked about it and how important it is to have somebody who can help you navigate through the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
And I know there are a lot of people out there going, well, I thought there was no Affordable Care Act. And I think that that's one of the things. Right. Yes, it's smaller in scope, but it's still there. It's
still there. People still like being able to find insurance that, for most cases, for 80% of the people, it is affordable. I can find plans for people that are maybe $50 or $60 a month because their income comes between 100 and 250% of the poverty level.
Yeah.
And that allows them not only tax credits to help pay that premium down, but it also gives them extra reductions in their co-pays. Their deductibles are not as high. The Affordable Care Act allowed us to insure people that had pre-existing conditions.
Right.
And so if you that's not even a question. People still come in and say, well, I have a pre-existing condition. I'm like, that's not even a question on the application. The application asks you some basic information about your household, names, ages, dependents, whether you file a joint tax return if you're married, and then your income. And it's simply based on that.
So it's not a process when people come to see you that you need to bring tax returns from the last 10 years and all this other information. It's pretty streamlined.
It is very streamlined. I always ask people to bring their most recent tax return or project what they think they're going to make for the next year, because we're heading into 2019. And then we always want to make sure that the doctors that they like and their prescriptions that they get are available under the particular plans. Right now in Carroll County, we have Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield and Ambetter. So those are the two plans. There's lots of options within those two companies.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that if they have medications that they're going to be covered. So I do a lot. The appointment takes longer to figure out which plan is most appropriate for their family or for their situation than the actual application is very easy to fill out.
And there are a lot of plans, a lot of plan options. It's not just going in saying it's A or B.
Right.
And that's where you as a navigator or
assistant
can help out finding the right the right plan for you. Because like you say, some things will work for some person and they won't work for another person based on whether it's economics, whether they're married, whether they have kids. And that's, getting help is not a bad thing for something like this because, there's a lot of questions.
Right. And sometimes people don't realize that if you have a family situation where one person in the family is super healthy and then unfortunately someone else in the family has either a chronic condition or has been diagnosed with cancer, that you can actually choose two different plans and have one that's maybe got a higher deductible for the healthy person, so it's a little bit lower cost, and then get a little bit more expensive plan for the person who needs the extra services.
And that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, that's what we help try to people figure out their situation.
Right, because I think that people I'm sure go in, and you probably get this. They think that they're going to spend a lot of money.
Right.
And depending on the plan,
Right.
not, I don't want to say that everybody's going to be, going out of there with, $2 a month things.
No.
But being able, that's a fascinating part of it right there, that you have that option within your own house.
Right. I think the people who get most discouraged are the folks that don't get any tax credits because their income is just too high.
Yeah.
It's over that 400%, so they don't get any tax benefit. And those premiums, they are high, and it's hard to. That's a hard pill to swallow if you can't get insurance through your job. So there's different ways of getting insurance. Most people get insurance through their job, or if they income qualify, they get insurance through the state, through Medicaid, or they buy insurance on their own. The majority of people either get it through their job or through Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a huge amount of people, but we're trying to make sure that people realize that there are a lot of preventative services that are free. So even if you get a plan that feels like it's got a very high deductible, all of your preventative care, so you can go to the doctor once a year, you can get that colonoscopy every 10 years, you can get that mammogram every year for women, you can get blood screenings for cholesterol checks and blood pressure and all of that. That's all free because they want you to be healthy, or they want you to discover things quickly and not wait until something's too late.
Yeah, and that's
And
an
that's
amazing,
more cost effective.
right? And that's very, very cost effective, and that's an amazing part of it that, like you say, a lot of people aren't aware of.
Right.
And that's why coming to see you, that can help out. Now, when can people come see you?
Well, actually, this year I'm actually at White Mountain Community Health Center, which I've been there this whole past year. That's at 298 White Mountain Highway. It's across from Allen Furniture area.
Yep.
And this year I'm actually there a portion of every day. So Mondays and Tuesdays I'm there all day. Wednesdays I'm only there a half a day because I'm out in the community. So this week and next week you can find me down at the Conway Library for walk-in services. So if you work all day and think, oh, great, she's only there until 4 o'clock, I can't, you can come to the Conway Library, walk in. The library has generously donated some laptops for us to use and some study carrels to get people set up. And then I'll also be down in Moulton Borough Library and at the Tamworth Library. So every Wednesday I'm at a different library.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you can find that information. We'll have an ad in the paper, in the Conway Daily Sun, but also on our website and on our Facebook page.
Now, do they usually come and see you twice? Do they kind of come the first time and set stuff up, ask a few questions, and then come back? Or is it usually kind of a one?
Sometimes it really depends on if people have had insurance the previous year and they kind of like their plan, then it's a simple case of not redoing the application, but just going through the application, updating any information, and then making sure that plan still covers their providers, their prescriptions, and it can be a very streamlined process. But there are times when I had a woman last week, and we realized that one of the plan that she had was going to be significantly more expensive than a different plan. And so she's like, oh, now I do have to go home and think about this because I don't know. I know this plan covers this. I'm not sure if this doctor is in this plan. So she was going to have to do some research and then come back. And then that would be a very quick appointment to just log in and choose the plan and let her go forth.
That's awesome.
And be healthy.
And you're there through April, but obviously the sooner the better.
Yes, well, so open enrollment is only till December 15th. So you've got to get in before then. That's why I did the walk-in events. I found last year that I could help more people because I could set people up on computers and I could run back and forth and kind of help them navigate the system without and answer general questions.
Yep.
And that worked really well. So December 15th is the deadline. After that, the only way you can get on the marketplace is if you have a special life event, like if you've moved or you've lost your job or you were Medicaid, and then all of a sudden now you've made too much money and you can't get Medicaid anymore. And I just wanted to put a word in also for Medicaid. That plan is changing as of January 1st. There are a whole bunch of folks on the New Hampshire Protection Program who had an Anthem plan or an Ambetter plan. It was a regular plan, just like you or I could get off the marketplace. Well, the Department of Health and Human Services has now changed that, and everybody's going over to what's called managed care. So all of those Anthem folks and Ambetter folks are going to have to pick either WellSense or New Hampshire Healthy Families. And that has to be done by December 3rd. And they have to pick a primary care provider. So that's a fairly easy process, but again, some people are like, oh, well, I don't know if my provider's in there. So if they need help, I'm there for that also. You can make an appointment and come in, and we can log on to New Hampshire Easy and try to make sure that you choose the plan that's going to work for you.
That's great. Well, Beth, I applaud what you've been doing all these years.
Yeah, I love what I do.
And making this process easy for people, because it's so important. And so
Thanks.
anything that you can do that helps this process and gets people insured. So December 3rd for Medicaid.
Yes.
And December 15th
15th
for
for-
open enrollment. So
right.
really, we're
Yeah.
talking a month and
Yeah.
a month and a half.
Yeah.
So it's
Month
really
and a half.
something
It's quick.
to jump on quickly.
Right. Right.
So Beth, again, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
And if
Good
somebody
to see
wants
you.
to get in touch with you to set up an appointment,
They can call the office at 447-8900, and they don't need to get my extension. They can just talk to somebody at the front desk because they have my schedule,
Yep.
and they can book an appointment.
Perfect.
Rather than leaving me a message and having me play telephone tag with them.
Right.
Yeah, it's just easy to call the front desk and because they have my schedule.
all right. So 447
8900.
8900. Terrific.
Yep.
Well, Beth, thanks again for
Yeah.
coming by.
Great.
And
Great to
good
be here.
luck.
Thanks so much.
This healthcare season,
Yeah,
we'll call
yeah,
it. So.
yeah.
And
Great.
thank you so much for coming by today.
Take care.
And we'll be back here in a minute on White Mountains Today.